category, driver number 247, ROUND4, must immediately leave back the transponder to the back station. Driver number 247, ROUND4, must immediately leave back the transponder to the back station.
Back here at SARNO for what promises to be an absolutely thrilling KZ2 final. One of the fastest tracks in the world. This is tailor-made for the KZ2 category. It's been a brilliant weekend of racing. Of course, they had the bye last week at La Conca. Senna van Walstein won the first round of the series on a freezing cold day at Lonato. Stan Pex, he won round 2 also at Lonato. Round 3 for the KZ2 championship is this afternoon, taking place here at SARNO. Who will win? We'll tell you in 17 laps time. I can tell you El Catalan will start on pole position, Pedro Hilbrand. But the fastest qualifier 48 hours ago was Laurens van Hoppen, who is starting his last KZ2 race for the moment for the Lennox Racing Team before racing F3 later on in 2022. Laurens van Hoppen scorched around the 1,550 metre circuit on Friday in a time of 53.194. He's had brilliant form this weekend. It is the kart made by Birolart in Lissone who are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the grid before we race a thrilling final this afternoon. Let's take a look at the highlights from SARNO in KZ2 this weekend. The Birolart Racing Team, who won the 2021 WSK Supermaster Series with Moraine Kramers, they've been in form. This is Pedro Hilbrand, El Catalan, who is back to his brilliant best in the 16 Birolart. Tom Luye, who was denied a victory at Lonato in round 1 with a freak failure, has taken a couple of heat wins as well. And Laurens van Hoppen in Kart 33, the fastest qualifier, the Dutchman, 48 hours ago on Friday. Noah Millel, the reigning world champion in Kart 1. The Tony Kart Racing Team entry coming together right there with Emilia Denner, who also had a DNF in the pre-final this morning. Last round of the series was won by Stan Pex, but the Dutchman has had, well, to be perfectly blunt, a miserable weekend thus far. He starts back on the 17th row of the grid, which we'll take a look at for you in just a moment. Stan Pex won last time in Lonato from Emilian Denner and Matteo Vigano. Vigano is still in form. He starts behind his Lennox Racing teammate in Kart 31 in the Charles Leclerc Lennox Racing Kart alongside his team for the teammate for the Lennox Racing Team, Tom Luye and LVH to the right of your screen. On the front row of the grid alongside El Catalan. His mechanic this weekend, Claudio Dionysis, former mechanic for Mick Schumacher. You may remember Claudio taking young Mick to second in the 2014 KF Junior World Championship. This weekend doing a superb job for Pedro Hilbrand. The 16 Birolart on the front row of the grid. A beautiful sunny afternoon here in the south of Italy. Just a week out from officially springtime here in the Northern Hemisphere. Great to have your company watching us live on WSK.IT and for the first time on Motorsport TV as well. It is the 5th event of the WSK season after the season opening Champions Cup. Of course, we also race the F4 Italian Championship presented by Arbath, powered by WSK Promotion ever since 2014. That kicks off on the 8th of May at the Imola Formula One Grand Prix circuit. Great to have so many of you watching for the first time on Motorsport TV. A lot of you on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Our friends in the United States of America racing in the US Pro Kart Series last week at Orlando. Speaking of the United States of America, how about our friend Jenson Button on his return to karting last weekend in the Californian State Championships at Cal Speed Circuit with Phil Giebler Racing. JB in position 4 in KA 100. He's otherwise engaged this afternoon. Congrats, JB, on both the 4th place last week And of course, what is happening today. If you're unsure, check out Jensen on Instagram. Our friends watching all around the world here on this sunny afternoon in the south of Italy at this Circuito Internazionale Napoli, the SARNO circuit, 1,550-metre circuit. An all-new layout since 2020, tailor-made for the gearbox category, which are touching near on 150 k's an hour, around about 146 to 49 down the start-finish straight, which they're on now. We'll take a look at the grid for you in just a moment. El Catalan on pole position, Pedro Hilbrand, and alongside him, Laurens van Alpen, who, as we mentioned in our introduction, is racing in the Formula Regional F3 Championship with Art Grand Prix in 2022, the fastest qualifier out of Grid 2 for the Lennox Racing Team, who are 2, 3, 4 on the grid. Pedro on pole, Laurens out of 2, Tom out of 3, and Matteo is out of Grid 3 after finishing in position 3 at Lonato. Jeremy, the Jet, Iglesias, Alessio Piccini, Danilo Albanese, and Paolo Ippolito, the drivers from Tuscany, 6, 7, 8 on the grid. And the local hope, Giuseppe Palomba, David Levinsky, also 4, yes, you know who, Lennox Racing, Senna van Wallstein, and Adrien Renaudin, the championship contender out of 12, Chalenta Denner, Juha Valtonen, and the 2020 Supermaster Series champion Puhaka, Irlando, Paparo, Ikelcek, and Pafo Tonteri. Moritz Hebner and David Trefilov, he came into this final round as the championship leader. Chris Hahn and Noemi Lel, Jorge Pescador, Samuel Luye, Victor Gustafsson. There's alongside his countryman another Swede in Sean Brandon Nielsen, Jean Luye, Daniel Vassilet after a DNF in the pre-final this morning, Kaya Sixnellis, Mathias Birgel, Carbonell, the round 2 winner, Stan Pex, Norton Andreasen, and the Queenslander, Oscar Target in the Birolart Kart 20, following in his famous father's footsteps, JT. Good evening to you, John, watching live from a flooded Gold Coast here this evening down in Australia. It is a sunny afternoon here at SARNO. I almost said Lonato. That's where we raced the first 2 rounds, and of course, La Conca last weekend. KZ2 back in action. This is Pedro Hilbrand, the 2016 World Champion. That was for CRG. Multiple WSK International Champion as well. Moraine Kramer's won the title for Birolart in 2021, Simo Polaka in 2020, Lamas a year prior, and then it was Marco Ardigo who took the 3rd of his WSK Supermaster Series titles in 2018. The first original WSK Supermaster Series champion in KZ2 back in 2010 was none other than W Series driver from the Netherlands, Batske Visser. Welcome to one of the most fastest, most spectacular circuits in the world. This is Circuito Internazionale Napoli, simply known as SARNO, the championship decider. The 2022 WSK Supermaster Series for KZ2. El Catalan on pole position, and the Flying Dutchman, the fastest qualifier, LVH in Kart 33, to the right of your screen on the front row of the grid. 0 to 100 in less than 3 seconds. We race. Hilbrand gets a perfect start as the Lennox Racing teammates almost come together on the second row of the grid. Matteo Vigano 31 and Tom Luye 30. And as predicted, Jeremy Iglesias, the 28 CRG, has made a great start as we lose one of the Birolarts into the grass, 2 of the Birolarts into the grass on the opening lap of the race. Hilbrand's gone. He races up the back straight already with possibly a 50-metre lead. Superstar from the Spaniard who goes through. There is the top CRG in 3rd place. It was Palomba who's out. Giuseppe Palomba, last year's WSK Euro Series champion on his home circuit, has retired a mere 300 metres after the start. Palomba is out. They come across the line for the first time. Hilbrand looks over his right shoulder. The blind goes down on the radiator. Vigano in 2nd place, withstanding the charge from Jeremy, the Jet Iglesias. The 28 CRG goes through down the inside. Jeremy forces the move, and the CRG goes through to take position 2. Nicely done by the 34-year-old Frenchman, the 2020 world champion, the professional kart racer from France, circuit manager down at the Brignoles circuit. The Bianchi family watching on, their close family friend. He's been into second place briefly as they race down the back straight, but now he's back to 4th. Tom goes by. Matteo Viganò also takes him as well. Viganò on the podium at Lonato retakes second place, trying to catch Pedro Hilbrand. The gap last time was 0.8 of a second. There's the 16 Birol Art disappearing from view. Back into second, we watch Matteo, Jeremy, Tom, Alessio Piccini up into P5. Superstar from the top Tuscan. Paolo Ippolito behind, ahead of Senna Van Wallstein. So we'll keep one eye on the championship as it stands. Pedro Hilbrand, if he can take the victory and Senna does not move up, you can see the graphic to the right of your screen. Pedro would take the title. Senna Van Wallstein, who dominated the season opening WSK Champions Cup and won the first round of the series, he's in trouble. There's the Dutchman going through in position 7. As we see the Lennox Racing Team drivers getting up on Jeremy. The CRG going back to P4. Tom Luye in great form here this afternoon in kart 30. So the karts manufactured in Lissone, their first, second and third. The gap is now 1.4 seconds between Pedro and Matteo. Tom into P3 from Jeremy. Paolo Ippolito P5. You can see the dust flying in the background. We've had an almighty crash down on the start-finish line. The drivers are okay. They've in fact basically continued on. One of the Sodi Kart drivers involved, it is the 43 Sodi Kart. We'll tell you who that is in a moment. As we look back to the race leader, we are momentarily distracted because a big crash has taken out part of the timing system here at SARNO. There's Senna Van Wallstein going through. Emilian Denner up into P8 from grid 14, the fastest driver on the circuit. And indeed, we have a full course yellow. So the gap of 1.6 seconds from Pedro back to Matteo Viganò has been neutralised. Full course yellow here at SARNO in the WSK Supermaster Series final. Matteo Spirgel was the driver involved. An almighty crash down the start-finish straight at over 140 k's an hour. He's okay, but there is damage to the timing system, also involving the 13 Kart Republic of, would you believe, Stan Pex, the round 2 winner. His side pod has just been carried back off the side of the circuit. A forgettable weekend for Stan Pex. His championship is over. Full course yellow here at SARNO. Stan Pex is out, coming together with Matteo Spirgel. Moritz Ebner is also out, and Giuseppe Palombo was out a few hundred meters after the start. So the race has been neutralized. The drivers are fine, but we had to neutralize the circuit because there was concern for the timing system. You can see they're working on it on the start-finish straight. Pedro comes across the line from Matteo Viganò, Tom Luye, Jeremy in P4, Ippolito and Alessio Piccini, the drivers from Tuscany, in 5 and 6. Emilian Denner, Senna Van Wallstein, P8. If he finishes there, he will miss the title by 29 points. Pedro would take it. He'll have another crack when we do finally go green. And as you look at Pedro Hilbrand, kart 16 for the Birol Art Racing Team. There is still debris being cleared off at the start-finish straight. The order at the bottom of your screen. There is Giuseppe Palombo, the bottom left. Confirmation, the local hope is out, the WSK Euro Series champion for the Birol Art team. Still sweeping the debris off the start-finish straight. A crash has taken out Spirgel, Vasile, Moritz Ebner, and Stan Pex is actually still circulating and trying to get a look at the 13 Kart Republic. Indeed, you may get a glimpse of him coming through with no right side pod, which is just to the left of your screen, sitting behind the barrier. Stan Pex will inevitably be issued with a mechanical defect flag. He has no right side pod. He's still driving as hard as he possibly can. The front NASA panel of Stan's kart is vibrating badly. So it's been a less than great weekend for the Dutchman who won round 2 of the Supermaster Series at Lonato. We are getting ready to go green next time round. We'll start lap 8 under green. Our race director, Mr. Alessandro Ferrari, is down on the start-finish straight with the green flag, ready to wave it for the field, which is now without Spiegel, Vasile, Ebner, and of course Palomba. Pedro Hilbrand's got the lead from the Lennox Racing Team drivers. Jordan Lennox Lamb, who won as a driver 2012, the WSK Supermaster Series for CRG. His drivers as a team manager, a team owner, together with Ferrari Formula One star Charles Leclerc. They're running in at 2nd and 3rd place. And watch Jeremy in the CRG in position 4 off the start. Pedro controls the pace and now accelerates. For the 2nd time this afternoon in KZ2, we race. Hilbrand pulls away, the track is clear and we go green. P5, Ippolito, Piccini going through. We're keeping one eye on Senna van Wallstein, who's ahead of his countryman. Laurens van Hoppen, the fastest qualifier in the 33 Lennox kart. He's back in P9 ahead of his teammate Levinsky, the local hope, the sole remaining local driver from here in Naples. Here's Francesco Cialenta, Michael Paparo, Irlando, Renaudin, Albanese, Tontari in position 16. Matteo Vigano, P3 in round 2 of the championship at Lonato. And he closes in on the back of Pedro. They've gone wheel to wheel on the kart circuits of the world over the best part of the last decade. And it's the karts built by Birulat who run 1, 2 and 3. Slightly wider line this time for Pedro Hilbrand. He'll give the slipstream, the all-important toe, to Vigano as they come down the start-finish straight at 143 k's an hour after the restart. Inevitably, the mechanical defect flag has been displayed for Stan Pex. His championship is over. He's circulating without the right side pod. The round 2 winner will have to pit. His championship is over. So Pedro grabs another gear, 140 k's an hour, as Tom takes Matteo and the teammates fight amongst themselves. And Jeremy Iglesias tries to capitalize in the 28 CRG. Back behind is Paolo Ippolito and Alessio Piccini. Alessio also for the Birulat Racing Team. And behind him, Senna van Wallstein, who dominated the opening races of the 2022 WSK International season. Hilbrand, though, ominously is pulling away once again. Senna van Wallstein, frustrated, sitting in behind Alessio Piccini. Senna van Wallstein with Emilian Denner right behind him. We'll see the 2 Sodi karts, the 2 teammates in the Sodi kart Sigma try and work together, trying to catch up to Paolo Ippolito. And just as we say that, Alessio Piccini has fallen back behind them. He's in position 9 as they race down the back straight. The orange and white fluorescent machines as one of the Birulats goes cross-country. It's Hilbrand! Hilbrand is out! That was Pedro! Oh, can you believe this? Pedro absolutely furious. He's out of the race. He's rolled to a stop. Pedro is out. Pedro is out of the race after dominating the final up until this point. Matteo Vigano assumes the race lead. It is the Lennox Racing Team who go 1 and 2. Jeremy up into 3rd place and Paolo Ippolito just a step off the podium. Down into the final corner, Pedro with a problem, pulls to the side of the circuit. He's out. Colpo di scena, as they say in Italian, an absolute shock. Pedro Hilbrand would have taken the Supermaster Series title. Not only has Matteo Vigano assumed the lead, but with that, Senna van Wallstein once again takes the top spot in the Virtual Championship. Senna van Wallstein now up in a P5. There is the Dutchman in the Sodi kart. He will win the Supermaster Series to go with his WSK Champions Cup title if he can bring it home in position 6, even though he's fallen behind his teammate Emilian Denner. Pedro is out. There's the confirmation to the bottom right of your screen. Senna van Wallstein would take the title just from Matteo Viganò, who leads the final here at SARNO. A sensation here at SARNO. Pedro Hilbrand, who is dominating the final. The 16 Birulat rolled to a stop at that corner right there. 2 laps to go. El Catalan has retired, and with that loses any hope of taking the WSK Supermaster Series. The round 2 winner, Stan Pex, he is also out. It is now a fight between the driver who leads the race, leads the final, Matteo Viganò and Sander van Wallstein. The Dutchman in P5. In fact, P6, there's Denner going through. Emilian Denner, who finished P2 at Lonato. So quick is the driver from Strasbourg on the French-German border. Emilian Denner, former International Super Cup winner. He won the Supermaster Series at Lonato last year for the intrepid kart racing team. Finished on the podium at Lonato, picked up by the Saudi kart racing team for 2022. A season of racing Formula 3 down in New Zealand before the world came to a grinding stop. Emilian Denner is catching Paulo Ippolito, Jeremy Iglesias. At the moment, the former world champion is on the podium trying to pass both the Frenchman Tom Louillet and the driver from Bergamo in the north of Italy, the race leader, Matteo Viganò. Moved down the inside by Ippolito. Fabulous pass. And the Kart Republic goes by the CRG. The Lennox racing team in the Charles Leclerc karts. They go 1-2. Ippolito, Paulo on the podium. Super drive from Paulo. He was racing with us in the WSK Supermaster Series 1 decade ago in what was then KF3 or KF Junior. He's now in P3 in KZ2. Former race winner in KZ2 in the Euro Championships as well, Paulo Ippolito. As we see Matteo and Tom both simultaneously looking over their right side shoulder. There is Jeremy Iglesias from Brignoles in the south of France. The 28 CRG P4. Denner 5, Sander van Wallstein still in position 6. Sander van Wallstein would still take this title for the Saudi kart racing team. So deep under brakes does Tom Louillet go. Had that big crash at Lonato last year when he was racing for Praga in the Supermaster Series. Has recovered from that. Was denied a podium in the opening round of the championship at Lonato when, dare I even say, he had, well, let's just say he didn't finish. I don't want to mock him or curse him by saying he had an engine oh, I just said it. Let's hope Tom comes home in second place. He's driving a great race. It is the Charles Leclerc Lennox racing team drivers 1 and 2. Ippolito's catching him. Both of them, in fact. That will have championship consequences. 2.5 laps from the checkered flag here in Naples. Senna up into P5 because Denner has had a problem. And in fact, Emilian Denner has also retired. Senna, another couple of points. The virtual championship will change as they come across the line for the second to last time. 2 laps now remaining in the WSK Supermaster Series final at one of the fastest circuits in the world. Ippolito now right on the back of Tom Louillet. Matteo Viganò pulls out 0.2 of a second over his teammate. 148 k's an hour, the fastest speeds we've seen through the speed trap this weekend in KZ2. Matteo Viganò, P3 at Lonato. He'll come up just a handful of points short. There is Sander van Wallstein. He had electrical issues in one of the heats. He was despondent after not finishing the second heat yesterday morning. The Saudi kart, the fluorescent orange and white machine from France with the Dutch driver P5. That will be enough for him to take the title. This is the last lap. Ultimo giro per Matteo Viganò. There is Sander van Wallstein. One more lap and he claims the title. Moraine Kramers holds on to the WSK Supermaster Series Championship for all of another 50-odd seconds. MK will relinquish the title at the end of this lap. Matteo Viganò driving superbly. Jeremy will miss the podium. The CRG driver in position 4. Matteo down the back straight goes defensive for the final time. Ippolito has driven brilliantly. Jeremy falls back. Senna goes through. P5 will be enough. They accelerate into the hairpin for the final time. A dominant performance from the Lennox Racing team driving the Charles Leclerc karts. Matteo Vigano wins the round here at SARNO. And with that, takes second in the Supermaster Series. We wait. Senna van Walstein crosses the line in position 5. And with that, the Dutchman is the WSK Supermaster Series champion for 2022. Vigano takes the victory here at SARNO. Tom Luye makes it a Lennox Racing 1-2. Paolo Ippolito, brilliant for the Tuscan. The Kart Republic driver home in 3rd place. Jeremy, P4, and Senna home in 5, and that's enough to take the title. Pedro will have to feel for the Spaniard from pole position, launched off the line and was gone. Vigano up into 2nd place in the early stages of the race. An incident further back in the field involving Stampex Matteo Spergel saw the race neutralised, as Jeremy's run in 3rd place was brief. This was the incident. The drivers were fine. That took out the timing system, and so we had to go full course yellow. The drivers were fine. We went back green. Pedro Hilbrand again looked headed for victory. He was actually heading the championship until this. Furious. The Birrell Art driver loses the victory, and with that also the championship as well. Matteo Vigano, Il Bergamasco dominant at the restart, and Tom Luye a well-deserved podium in position 2. And Paolo Ippolito on the podium in 3rd. Senna van Walstein despondent yesterday, P5, and that's enough for the Dutchman to take the WSK Supermaster Series title. Vigano and Tom Luye, what a dominant performance for the Charles Leclerc Lennox Racing team. They finished 1-2, and Paolo Ippolito, bravissimo, il Toscano. Paolo finishes on the podium in 3rd. Jeremy, and with that, Senna van Walstein, P5, is the WSK Supermaster Series champion for 2022. Heartbreak for Pedro Hilbrand, who is classified in 31st place. He started from pole position, was walking away with the race and seemingly destined to take the title until he stopped at the side of the circuit with a DNF. We'll turn the page. There's Stampex in P30. Won round 2. He also was forced to retire, and Hilbrand 31st out. His championship over. Matteo Vigano, the Italian, will stand on the top step of the podium here at SARNO, and Tom Luye from La France finishes P2. It's a Lennox Racing team 1st and 2nd. The Birrell Art team, who won in 2021 with Moraine Kramers. Well, the karts from Lissone, not too far from the Monza Formula 1 Grand Prix circuit. That's where they're manufactured. They finish 1-2 here this afternoon. Stay with us on WSK.IT, and also for our friends watching for the first time on Motorsport TV, the KZ2 final podium presentation live from SARNO in just a moment. Huge commiserations to Pedro Hilbrand, but he actually has finished third in the championship. Matteo Vigano with the victory here this afternoon, finishes in second in the championship, and Senna Van Walstein has just taken the title. You can see the grid girls on your screen. What a magnificent sight this is, in more ways than one. The most beautiful grid girls in the world. We said that last week at La Conca. Well, possibly here in Naples or Napoli. Equally tight for that title. We wait for the drivers to come up onto the podium. Firstly, the race podium presentation, and then the championship podium. Senna Van Walstein was despondent after a tech issue yesterday in his second heat, but he has taken the title, the WSK Champions Cup champion, 5th place this afternoon for the round 1 winner. Was enough to do it here this afternoon at SARNO. Take nothing away from Matteo Vigano, who takes the victory. It's a Lennox Racing Team 1-2 for the karts, bearing the name of the Ferrari Formula One driver Charles Leclerc, who is in action next week in the first round of the FIA Formula One Championship at Bahrain, where we raced the World Championships, the race in the desert back in 2016. Vigano, Lullier, finishing 1-2. Brilliant drive, Paolo Ippolito. The Kart Republic Kart 74, the Tuscan, home in 3rd place. As the drivers make their way up to the podium, including Pedro, who does take 3rd in the championship as well here this afternoon. So the Vega caps go on the heads of Paolo, Tom and Matteo. And we're ready to get underway with the podium presentation. Firstly for the race, round 3 of KZ2, the WSK Supermaster Series here at SARNO. In 3rd place for Kart Republic, the Italian, Paolo Ippolito. Bravissimo Paolo. Deuxième place in 2nd place from La France for the Lennox Racing Team, the Charles Leclerc kart, Tom Lullier. He finished on the podium at Lonato, but not on the top step. He's done it here this afternoon. He heads home at Lennox Racing 1-2, the winner of the final round of the WSK Supermaster Series here at SARNO, Il Bergamasco, Matteo Vigano. The national anthem of Italia. The podium for KZ2 here this afternoon. Bravissimo in terza posizione, Paolo Ippolito. Tom Lullier in 2nd place, and the winner of the final round here at SARNO, Matteo Vigano. Firstly, we'll get a word with Paolo Ippolito. Semplicemente bravissimo Paolo, terza posizione, super drive, 3rd place.
Sì, sicuramente una bella gara, sono sicuramente soddisfatto del risultato. Vorrei ringraziare la KR Motorsport in veste di Dino Chiesa che mi dà la possibilità di correre e di esprimermi al meglio. Sono felice, siamo soltanto agli inizi del nostro rapporto insieme, quindi tutto sommato una bella gara.
Bravissimo, merita il tuo podio qui oggi pomeriggio. Deuxième place, second place, Tom Luye. Let's go back to Lonato when you had a technical issue. You failed to finish in the final, but here this afternoon, a Lennox Racing team won too. This makes up for it, surely. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really good race. P2, it's not bad. Congrats to Matteo. Perfect.
E prendiamo la parola da Matteo Vigano. Oh, altissimo qui. Matteo, bravo! Allora, prima di tutto, che cosa è successo con Pedro? Sai qualcosa? First of all, do you know what happened with Pedro? Tell us what happened. Recount for us your race here this afternoon.
Parlo in italiano che è meglio. Penso che abbia avuto un problema tecnico, adesso non so esattamente. Penso che anche lui comunque ci sarebbe meritato la vittoria perché ha dimostrato che fino a quel momento andava molto forte. Mi dispiace per lui. Detto ciò, sono molto contento per me, per Jordan, per il team Lennox, e devo ringraziare anche la TM per l'ottimo materiale, diciamo, e complimenti anche al piccolino qua.
Complimenti Matteo. He'd like to thank everyone, the team here that've driven or given him a great kart. Also paying thanks to TM. Commiserations to Pedro. Doesn't know what happened. Thinks it's a technical problem, obviously, but congratulations, Matteo. Takes victory here this afternoon and also the podium for the championship in just a moment, finishing in second place. I'll step down. This is the podium for the final round of the Supermaster Series in KZ2. Third place, Paolo Ippolito. Second, Tom Luye. And the winner here at SARNO, Matteo Vigano. So that is the race podium. We will also award the championship podium here this afternoon for the 2022 WSK Supermaster Series. You cannot feel anything but heartbreak for the Birulat driver from Spain. He was leading the final here this afternoon in third place, notwithstanding a huge congratulations, huge round of applause. Third place, Pedro Hilbrand. With a win here this afternoon, he takes second place in the WSK Supermaster Series for the Lennox Racing team. The vice champion for 2022, Matteo Vigano. He was despondent yesterday after a technical issue in the first of his heats. He told me, that's it, my championship's over. He's fought back brilliantly to finish in position 5. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top step of the podium, the WSK Supermaster Series champion from the Netherlands, for Sonic Kart for 2022, Senna van Wolstein. Let's get a word with Senna van Wolstein. He won the WSK Champions Cup on the 23rd of January. He was despondent yesterday. It looked all over. Tell us how you won the title.
Yeah, of course, coming into this race, it would be really difficult. Of course, Pedro was really fast. And yeah, if he would finish in third, I think there was no chance for us. But in the end, I had bad luck yesterday. This time the luck was on my side. So yeah, really happy with winning the championship.
Congratulations, the winner van the Netherlands, Senna van Wolstein, takes the WSK Supermaster Series for 2022. Also commiserations to Pedro, who drove brilliantly all weekend. Stay with us on WSK.IT and Motorsport TV. The OK final in just a moment.